Hello again. Welcome to the Family Federation Report. My name is Jeffrey Fires. The Family Federation has always supported the sanctity of the marriage. And today we are going to hear from a young movement called the Pure Love Movement that is growing up in New Zealand, and they want to talk about abstinence before marriage. We know that the best environment for raising up children is a happily married, committed couple, committed in marriage. And how do we achieve that kind of family? Certainly, a lot of the things that we do before we are married is going to greatly either help us to make that kind of a family or hinder it. If we are untrustworthy before marriage, if we change our minds a lot, and so on, and certainly if we are promiscuous, then later on when we are married, we may still have the tendency to do those things. We really want to, therefore, support such an idea as abstinence before marriage. When we think about the 60s, time of the sexual revolution, it changed a lot the way we saw things and what we thought was acceptable or normal. Before that time, it wasn't normal to have sex outside marriage, and that time spawned a lot of very stable families. And then after the 60s, now we come to the time where we have a lot of blended families, a lot of solo parents trying to raise up children under very difficult circumstances. We think about the time that we're in now when we are considering the healthy foods that we should be eating, natural foods, pure foods, things that are not contaminated or genetically modified. What about our social environment? Is that a pure environment that we're growing up in? I think that you would agree that it is not. A lot of what we see on television, through the media, is not pure and not responsible living. So we want to hear from the teenagers today their views about abstinence. Welcome to the program.
Abstinence. What is it? What does it mean to the youth of today? Our society is full of sex, and yet no one seems to hear anything about abstaining. Let's take a look at an American film about abstinence called Love Smart.
Searching for intelligent life in outer space.
But is there intelligent life?
On planet Earth.
On planet Earth? Many adults seem to think
that all or most teens
are incapable of
self-control.
But we're not all drug users.
And we're not sex crazed losers.
Maybe we've made mistakes.
But we're learning.
Maybe we've seen what our friends did
And want to do better.
Maybe we see what our parents did.
and think we can do better.
And know we could do better.
Sometimes, sometimes I wake up worrying, God, what if I do have chlamydia? What if my, system is damaged and I can't have kids, I'm still thinking about going to clinic again to get checked up because I'm not satisfied with my first test.
For example, my sister, she was 20 years old and she got pregnant. And I remember when she first found out, she was really struggling with what to do, but she was also telling me, she would call me she would have nightmares that she didn't want to marry this guy.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Half of American teens
Half of American teens
Have never had sex.
have never had sex.
Half of American teens have never had sex.
Maybe they're waiting for,
A better time.
A better place.
like marriage.
Like marriage.
Really, it really breaks my heart to hear him say that, Sina, I have herpes, And he was like one of the people I was going to sleep with. I thought, oh my gosh, what was I thinking,
Her and my father, I guess, had an infatuation, and they decided together to have me, but my father didn't have any commitment towards raising me, It was just me, just me and my mother, just the two of us. My father wasn't going to be around.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Nearly two-thirds
Nearly
of
two-thirds
sexually active teens
of sexually active teens
Regretted it.
regretted it
And wish they waited.
Two-thirds of sexually active teens regretted it and wish they'd waited.
and wish they'd.
Waited.
And after a while, you know, you get attached to that one guy. You know, you're just like practically just giving yourself up to him, whether he respects you or not, you know, because you're just totally attached to him physically. And to detach yourself from him, it's really hard because you have so much, you feel so much emotion for him, you know. And to give it all up was really hard.
And that kind of ruined my childhood because I had a lot of resentment, you know, towards my father. You know, I kind of would try to pretend like, you know, it didn't matter that I didn't have a father, but it really hurt inside not having a father because you wonder, you know, where is your father, you know? Everybody else is always, you know, bragging about their dads or their dad does this and their mom's doing this or something, you know, and you know, I don't have that to brag about. I can't say, you know, my dad's this or my dad, because I don't know, you know. You have to come up with those little stories. My dad owns IBM company, you know. You have to come up with all those little stories. So that really demeans a kid's childhood not to grow up with both parents, you know.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Girls having sex.
Girls having sex have
A higher risk?
A higher risk to attempt suicide.
6 times higher risk to attempt suicide.
Maybe sex didn't make them happy.
Maybe sex didn't solve their problems.
Maybe sex didn't make them feel wanted.
Maybe sex didn't make the guy love them.
It feels so good, you know, it's just like quitting smoking or quitting drinking, you know. You go through this withdrawal symptoms, you know. And, you know, temptation's just a block away or something.
I have a friend. She's 14 years old. She got an STD, and now she's sterile. She's 14 years old. She wanted to later get married. She wanted to have kids. She wanted to have a nice family. She can't now. She can't have a nice family. She gets married to her husband. Oh, I love you so much, but we can't have kids. What's he gonna say? You're not gonna be happy.
We're tired of hearing
sweet, soft lies.
We don't want to be with.
any of those guys.
We don't want to be with
any of those guys.
They'll laugh at somebody who went through it, you know. And they're gonna think that oh no, I'm not gonna go through what she went through. I'm gonna be more careful. I'm gonna use a condom. I'm gonna be the one dumping him or dumping her, you know. I'll be the one hurting them. You know, I won't be hurt. You know, both ways, you know, you're gonna get hurt no matter what, you know.
In my own family, my father was his whole life basically was pretty promiscuous, a lot of relationships. And myself, I come from a one-night stand. And, you know, these accidents are very common, I think. You know, people got in the woods and all of a sudden the girl gets pregnant.
Because, you know, you don't do things like this unless you come from a destructive background or you feel some sort of lack of love, you know.
Real men
Real men
love their kids.
spend time with their kids.
sacrifice for their kids.
Real men
Honor their wives.
respect their lives.
Real men wait until the right time.
Real men wait until the right time.
People actually, you know, don't care about anything like that, you know, because we don't see it happen. Because that's what I think. People don't see the reality because, hey, you don't see anybody dying in front of you, so you feel like, oh, everything's okay, you know, and we don't really know the reality. That's the problem.
I want to be that father that can then keep my kids together in a family, you know, with my wife and things. So, you know, they can grow up and be proud of me and say, you know, brag to their kids, you know, well, my dad's always around. This is what me and my dad did this time, you know. I want them to have everything that I missed. You know?
Monogamy doesn't mean boring.
Monogamy doesn't mean boring.
Look it up.
Look it up.
It means caring for.
It means caring for.
One partner.
One partner.
For life.
Forever.
That's the best.
That's the best.
I mean, personally, me, few years is too much. Few months ago, you know. I mean, I don't care. I mean, we just don't care about it's not just because of the movies or anything like that. But I think it's because we try to put away things that, you know, things that can help me. I mean, who can help us in our lifetime.
And for me personally, it was very hard to regain my value, to know that you come from sort of an accident or a one-night stand, and then to find your value, it takes a while, you know, because you know that it wasn't out of a deep love between a man and a woman.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Married people have.
Married people have the best sex.
Married people have the best sex.
Wonder why?
Wonder why?
Because
Because of.
Trust.
Trust.
split trust.
We live in a generation we think sex is cool, you know, and also something like that. But I gotta say something also, you know, people are virgin or things like that. They should be very thankful. You know, I mean, it is the greatest thing you can have in your life. If you're if you're virgin.
Like love and sexuality is really essential to how people. Love is really essential to how people relate with everything in their life, and sexuality is a central expression of love. And I think if we can't deal with sexuality in the right way, we don't learn to relate to love in the right way, and it affects all kinds of areas of our life.
Children deserve to have.
Children need to have.
2 committed parents.
Children deserve to have.
2 committed parents.
2 committed parents.
It sucks.
It sucks.
That so many don't.
That so many don't.
And they talk, I mean, somebody's smoking, wear a cool jacket, they say, hey, yo, this is cool, I'm gonna do the same thing, you know? And people see somebody having sex, and they think it's cool from that.
It's not really safe sex, but it's less dangerous sex.
Personally, yeah, I used to think it's cool, you know, smoking cigarette or using drug and things like that. It's so cool, you know. But somehow, yeah, I think most of the time people watch it from movies. Yeah, they try to make their life seem like it's a movie. Yeah. So somehow, you know, most of the time it's not a movie, it's a reality. You get lost.
You don't need to be extra smart.
You don't need to read a chart.
To know that.
To know that.
Sex is not a toy.
Sex is not a toy.
Sex can create life.
Sex can create life.
Don't misuse it.
Don't abuse it.
You're smarter than that.
We're smarter than that.
We're love smart.
We are love smart. We have relationship intelligence. What about you?
I wish I'm a virgin. I mean, I just wish. Because if I am a virgin, I wouldn't be worrying about taking some tests.
The biggest dream of every young person, I'm sure, is like to have a very beautiful love relationship, I'm sure. Because this is something very attractive. Also like sexual love, it's something very attractive. But we cannot have it if we really don't prepare before.
A message to people.
A message to people we love.
We want to hear.
We want to hear what you think.
Not just
your fears.
But also your
hopes and dreams.
If you expect bad things.
If you expect bad things.
That's what you'll probably
get.
If you believe.
If you believe in us.
Maybe we'll.
Maybe we'll surprise you.
Maybe we'll do more than you expect.
I mean, when we do whatever we want, basically many times we become like prisoners of our feelings, of our emotions.
Wake up, you know, from what you're doing, you know, and just realize it. If what you're doing is good or not.
Our future sons will have.
Our future daughters will have.
Committed fathers.
Our children will have.
Committed fathers.
Our kids will have.
Love smart mothers.
Our kids will have.
Love smart fathers.
Our kids will have.
Relationship intelligence.
Because that's what we've got.
Because that's what we've got.
What about you?
So we've seen the situation in America, but what about here, at home? What do the New Zealand youth have to say about abstinence before marriage? I'm off to Queen Street to investigate.
I can see your light shining in this place. It's gonna be alright. You can't leave without a trace, yeah. 'Cause your love is still on fire in the faces that I see, and it sets my soul on fire to change my destiny. Oh, my life is in your hands, 'cause I give it all to you. I try to understand why you do the things you do, yeah. 'Cause you're
We're here at Aotea Square Markets to interview people. So far, nobody has bitten the hook. We have not got anyone to interview yet.
So we'll interview each other. What do you know about abstinence before marriage?
Not a lot. That's just basically you save yourself until you get married. That's basically it.
About what?
Abstinence before marriage.
Like, what do you know about it? Like, you heard about it from anyone?
No, never.
No sex before marriage.
Okay.
That it's abstaining from sex.
No, I don't know much about it.
It's not having sex before you're married.
Good call.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you think that it is a good idea?
Yep. I do think it's a good idea.
Well, it's not something I'd be into, but I'd never given it too much thought. It's just as long as they're not being pressured by their parents or religion, then it's okay, as long as it's up to them. But usually it's not, so that's kind of my opinion on it.
For some people, maybe I don't know.
Well, abstinence before marriage seems to be something that's not part of today's generation, just with the culture and the media and advertising. It's so, sex around everywhere seems to be selling everything. But personally, I think abstinence before marriage is a good idea because of my norms and values.
Personally, no, I don't. If you commit to a marriage, a relationship is deep and as important that you're going to want to know everything about the person. And if you're going to supposedly spend the rest of your lives together, then you have to know absolutely everything about that person.
Yeah, sometimes.
You should wait for the one that you love.
Yeah.
Wait for the one that'll make you happy.
I think it is a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea because if you sleep around, you're going to get something like STD or something. And that
STI, infection. They're not
the safest way of not getting AIDS or something is just not to have sex at all until you know who you're going to sleep with.
Why do you have these views about abstinence before marriage?
I have a personal faith, and I grew up in an environment where family values were first, and it was more to be with someone you love rather than be with everyone.
Mostly from my parents because they're the big protective people, you know.
Definitely, I think the community, the schooling system, a lot from the schooling system. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about it around.
So do they tell you it's good or that you can't do it? Or?
They don't tell you you can't do it. They leave the door open, but they let you decide for yourselves, and I think that's good.
I don't know.
I've dated girls who have believed in abstinence strongly, and for them it's a fair point of view, and I respect it. But from my experience, people can change very quickly. They can be something you don't think they are. So if I'm going to commit to something like marriage, I want to know them properly.
Is it like your culture, religion, or
Yeah, it is.
It's personal for me, but I mean, I don't think personally that I would wait until marriage, because what if you never get married? You know, there's always that thing that you might never find the right person.
True.
So, I mean, if you're in love, then go for it. But if you want to wait for before marriage, then that's cool too.
Is that because of your religion or personal?
Just how I've been brought up and stuff.
I think personally for me, it's just just being conscious of yourself and just thinking about stuff before you go through with it. Really, I mean, sometimes you commit yourself to a lot when you participate in sexual intercourse, and I think marriage is something that you need to sort of find that up and just be sure. I think it's always good to be sure in anything.
Well said.
Do your friends have the same views as you?
Do.
Like, do any of your friends believe in abstinence or think it's really bad? Or?
No, no one really cares about it.
No,
definitely not. No way, they won't wait.
They lost it when they were like 14.
Yeah, I think on the whole my circle of friends hold these values about abstinence before marriage, but it seems to be quite unusual in today's society.
And why do you
Well, I can tell you for one that Kendrick over here does. I don't know about these guys.
Don't know about some other people.
But I mean,
well, most of them, especially
Dave.
What's that? What's that?
Dave believes strongly in.
What are you branding me with now?
He believes strongly in abstinence before
No, I
marriage.
don't. I believe that marriage is an outdated concept, let alone abstinence.
My God, man.
He's your next guy to interview.
But I'm British, so I don't count, right?
He exactly doesn't count.
Yeah.
Why do you think that people believe that sex before marriage is okay?
I don't know. It's not really a big deal.
I think we're brought up in a culture where the pressure is there from the very young age, maybe from parents as well, and from the media and in advertising and films and music, that it's pushed that it's an okay idea.
I think it's just, people, they succumb to their primal instincts. It's, obviously a primal instinct to reproduce ourselves, and, people need to control themselves. There's got to be self-control out there.
Well, parents are always like, no, don't have sex, don't do this and don't do that, and I think some kids are just trying to rebel,
And I think the media is a big one. A lot of TV shows.
Having sex on TV, I want to have sex as well.
I know, it's social conditioned. People are conditioning us to believe it's okay, but really, it's not really that okay.
Because people are just animals too. As much as we like to think we're all advanced and high and mighty, we're not.
Because it's peer pressure, yeah. It's a good way to get close to who you're going out with too. It's a good way to really be close to your boyfriend as well.
And know him a lot. Yeah, you gotta know the guy a lot before you commit. Yeah,
but in a way it's just them thinking, he wants me. That's like it's a good way to boost your self-confidence as well. But
Do you think that abstinence before marriage could be valid at this time?
I think it would be very difficult to push that it's the norm these days. It would be difficult to convince people that it's a good idea.
For certain people, yes. For people with strong beliefs, yes. But life tends to kill strong beliefs pretty fast.
I think it depends on the person. It's their choice. If that's what they want to do, then let them. They shouldn't be pushed into it or anything.
I think abstinence is always valid. I don't think it could ever not be valid. People are entitled to their own views. It's, how it should be always.
I think it depends on how you're brought up and how you feel about yourself, whether you want to wait or whether you want to, give it up to whoever you're going to with. It's a personal thing for everyone.
Do you think that teenagers have enough self-control to abstain from sex?
No, I think a lot of peer pressure comes into it, and it's most people, I don't think, do it for themselves. They just do it because everyone else and stuff like that, and whole other issues. Just depends.
Maybe a few. No.
Maybe that depends on the individual, whether they have enough self-control. It would have to come from their peer group, their family, school, older sisters and brothers and friends.
Some do.
Some don't. Most of them don't. No.
Especially guys.
Yeah.
So funny.
True.
No. I don't think most teenagers do. It depends on upbringing.
Well, I know that I do, and I, will try my hardest to. And so if I can, I don't see why other people can't. How about you, Kendrick?
Yep. If you have self-control, you can stop yourself from doing anything. Yeah. Just something that you have to believe in, and it helps if you have friends that believe in the same thing, because then you don't get pressured into anything.
Do you think that alcohol and drugs influence your decisions of sex?
Yeah, I think self-control is obviously affected by some external pressures, like peer influences, and alcohol and drugs will play a huge part.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. They contribute a lot to the complete, deconstruction of society. So they lead to lack of inhibition, which is when most people end up losing their virginity.
That's it. Of course. That's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely.
People
at parties.
Parties and stuff.
Definitely at parties. Yeah.
Well, especially with the whole date rape thing now.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, definitely.
Better be so careful now.
I think that when you're drunk or pissed or wasted,
someone's slang.
You're not going to be thinking very clearly. So if someone can't think clearly, they can't say no to some things.
So sometimes if you're stoned, you do crazy things. And you can't control yourself.
It's the maturity.
As you can see, your choices about abstinence and sex are not something to be taken lightly.
The decision to abstain from sex before marriage is a realistic option that we all must think about.
We know that sex is the ultimate act of intimacy and must be in a relationship of complete commitment, complete trust, and complete security, the marriage.
The choice that will lead you to the most happiness, true love, and freedom is abstinence before marriage.
Think about it.
Recent statistics, medical statistics and social statistics, are now showing to us that an abstinence-based lifestyle is a much better, happier and healthier one. That's why in America now the government is putting a lot of resources behind abstinence-based education programs in schools. I'd like to read something now from one of those abstinence-based programs. The benefits from abstinence. The reasons to wait till marriage must go beyond traditional reasons like don't get a disease, don't hurt yourself emotionally, don't die and don't get caught. The advantages of abstinence go far beyond self-preservation. They include character development, preparation for marriage, social benefits to the children, family, community and nation, and most important, creating the foundation for a true love relationship. After all, marriage is more about abstinence than sex. When you say I do, in order to make that relationship unique and eternal, then you still need to say I don't to everyone else. Making the commitment of abstinence and keeping to it takes an enormous pressure off you. There are 3 areas where abstinence is clearly a plus. In the first area, those who are not sexually active can devote more time and energy to developing character, talents and career options. The emotional roller coaster of on-again, off-again relationships can be devastating. Choosing to become sexually active can damage your ability to love, degrade your emotional self-worth, and distort interpersonal relationships. Number 2, all of your friends can remain just that, friends. Instead of investing your time and energy in an exclusive, intimate relationship at such a young age, you are free to make a wider variety of lifelong friends. Number 3, the intensity of your first love is tremendous and unforgettable. It should be unique, last forever, and strengthen the marriage relationship. If your first love is your only love, there are no flashbacks and comparisons to haunt your marriage. To the extent premarital sex is accepted, to that extent is the idea of the necessity of marriage undermined. To the extent that premarital sex is practiced and encouraged, to that extent will women who want to wait until marriage find it harder to meet men who will marry them without first trying them out. So if you'd like to know more about this program or the work of the Family Federation, you can look up one of our websites or call us on our 0800 True Family number. You've been watching the Family Federation Report. Until next time, bye for now.